This is the Parent Portal Show.
You've seen prices rise from the dinner table to the pump, but Allstate agents are seeing ways to save you money on insurance. From starting a new policy to bundling coverage or even driving safely, Allstate agents know how to maximize your savings. They'll share their knowledge as they help you personalize your coverage. Because when it comes to seeing all the ways to save, Allstate agents do it best.
Mike Hammer has over 35 years as an Austin area Allstate agent. Call 512-343-6994 or visit MikeHammer@allstate.com.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, welcome to the Parent Portal Show. Email us at Steven@ParentPortalShow.com or James@ParentPortalShow.com and subscribe to our Parent Portal Show YouTube channel or find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, or your favorite podcast platform. Hey, Coach, good afternoon. How are you?
Wow, I'm excited to be here. It's always fun to be able to sit down and discuss what's going on in our kids' lives and in this crazy world of NIL.
Hey, Coach, it's game day for us today. So it's the end of the beginning or end of the season, beginning of the end. But we're all geared up and ready for the last game of the season, and hopefully it'll be a good one. I spent a little bit of time this morning, thought about it, and carefully chose my words to reach out to my youngest kid, my middle linebacker, and encourage him and try to provide him a little bit of thoughts. Just kind of looking back, I said, this is going to be hopefully a good day for you. Think about the memories that you have of 7th grade and 8th grade football and the end of those seasons, and then try to enjoy the moment that you're going to be going through today, and don't leave anything on the field. And he seemed to appreciate that message and responded accordingly.
Yeah, we get caught up sometimes as peoples that, it's all about the win or it's all about, winning district and everything. And we sometimes lose track of the journey, and that's where, the meat of the season, and that's where the memories and the relationships, that's where those things are forged in. And, that's where futures are made, is in the journey.
Yeah. Well, and as you've aptly described before, our job is just to love on our kids, and so taking a moment to just be there and provide some encouraging thoughts. I'm sure he'll have the typical, I don't know if he gets butterflies. I didn't get butterflies before games until my senior year in high school, but I'm sure he'll have the typical angst that go along with preparing for the game. But I'll share with you another thing I did. I thought about that a little bit, and I said, I'm going to send that same kind of message out to my other two boys. And, I've got my middle guy out in Arizona doing his thing with the military, and he's going to be home in about 3 weeks. And I sent him a very encouraging note, just telling him how proud I was of him and how excited I am for him, and kind of wrapping up what he's doing in his life and the chance to see him in 3 weeks. And then I turned to my oldest boy and sent the same kind of message. He's just doing great stuff with his job, and just telling him how much I admired how dedicated he was to his job and what a great career and dedication to his career that he's done, and that same kind of loving message. So for me, it was, it was special for me to build those messages and send them. And certainly those are great moments.
They really are. And, as parents, life coaches, if you will, all of us, we sometimes get so caught up in our own world that we miss that. And that's where, kids need it the most. They're the ones that need that consistency that builds that confidence, and they know that family is a safety net, and it is a place that you can go to find refuge when things are rough, and a place where you can celebrate and lose your mind when things are great. And They that that message that we send to them, that we love you no matter what, unconditionally, whether you're number one or you're not, we still love you, is a powerful thing in building that consistency and helping our kids become better adults.
Hey, I bet a couple of the Texas Ranger players probably had some of that encouragement along the way and probably even got a few notes or phone calls or hugs last night from parents who were so very proud of them since they won the World Series. So there you go, Coach. There's a great example of uh, the moments that we all try to cherish and enjoy.
Yeah, they don't just happen by accident, and you sometimes you got to make them happen. And uh, it was awesome to watch those athletes be able to get to a place that they've been working at their whole lives.
It's been a great week in youth sports. A lot of craziness, Coach. A lot of crazy things going on. But and NIL continues to be just this complex, hodgepodge, chaotic, messy environment. But how about we jump in and talk a little bit about what NIL is doing in kind of the marketing space for kids and parents, and try to figure out that kind of athletic development questions that we're all going to be running into.
I agree, and looking at this landscape, it's ever changing, as we continue to say. But what are some of the best practices and best advice that we can give? Because we've talked about sitting around the table, and what it looks like for parents, and uh, we've challenged ourselves to be a good resource for that. And what I found is like there's so many things that you can go to on the internet, and some are great, some aren't. But I recently came across an article in marketingbrew.com,
Mm-hmm.
and it's talking about back to school lessons in NIL for marketers new to the space. And while it's kind of talking about from the side of a marketer, if you will, it's
Yeah.
it's very revealing as a parent, as I'm reading this, what some of the dynamics that not everybody's talking about. And to that point, they go into the landscape of NIL with the idea we're 2 years into this, and you're looking at this from the like, hey, I heard about Quinn Ewers making these incredible amounts of money. And it's like what you're not hearing is like, you know in the world of NIL, that didn't just happen. It started with his passion and performance to be able to get the attention of things, but it really talks about a big thing with how you're creating your resume and what
Mm-hmm.
that looks like. If you're a marketer, where are you going to find this resume? Because Quinn's not sending it out other than just doing it on the field, and he's building that brand, if you will. And
Yeah.
how do you find that as a marketer? Well, right now, the best resume is social media. In
Yeah.
particular, a lot of these agents and these marketing agencies are going in and they're looking at Instagram, and all the other social media channels, and they're saying, "Hey, here's a guy and here's his brand," and it's like, is this appealing to us? So something that doesn't have anything to do with writing like you and I used to do, sitting down and
Right.
writing a resume out, right?
Right.
They're doing it on Instagram in 15 to 30 second little clips.
Yeah. Well, and I think your point is valid. It's crazy. It's been 2 years now, over 2 years since NIL deals NIL deals came about and went live, right? But it's still just the wild, wild west, and I think that's such an overused cliche, but it's so appropriate because there's just the rules are still not in place, and we won't jump into all the chaos with the NCAA, but that framework, and as the courts will continue to get involved and continue to kind of um, help us define what that marketplace is going to be like, brands are just as challenged by this environment as everyone else. And to that point, for a brand to try to figure out, okay, what's going to work in Texas or Oklahoma or California may be different than what works in Ohio and Michigan. Just the whole differences in ages. I can recruit, and a brand can have a deal with a high school student in some states and not in other states. And a lot of the bigger brands don't like that adversity. They don't like to have to figure out the rules state by state. It doesn't make it easy for them. So certainly, I think to your point, it is a challenge for the brands to figure out how to enter into these deals. And it is a little bit of a challenge for those guys. But being able to look through Instagram and see what these kids are providing and posting, I think does set a foundation for what they're going to be looking for in the future.
Yeah, it really does. And there's so many arms to this. If you think about this, as an adult, you have that opportunity to think and say, well, I had to watch what I was saying here, and as a result of that, I didn't put my foot in my mouth, kind of moment. And in the world of our kids, oftentimes that filter isn't there. They haven't been through those experiences. They haven't come to that maturation level where it's like I should not say anything. Just the old rule: if you haven't got something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Right.
They don't have that filter as much, and it's gotten it's gotten people in trouble. I mean, if you look back to 2022, Antonio Brown, who is an NFL athlete, was texting his displeasure. He was making it known how he didn't appreciate, what was happening, and he was gone within a couple days of putting some text out. And you think as a kid, it's like, oh, I just said that, I didn't really mean that. Or hey, I didn't mean to post that's not what I said. That's not what I
Yeah.
meant with it. And all of a sudden, what you say doesn't go away. It stays with you forever. And especially in the world of, social media, if you post something, it's there for not just for your friends to watch and laugh, but it's there for your potential, brand sponsors to come and say, "Hey, what about this? Is this something that we want to be associated with?" And you know, more times than not, we think in small world type things. And if you look in the world of like football, if you say, "Hey, I can catch," oh, but I said this and I'm sorry, that's good enough. No, they can find somebody that can catch that didn't say that.
Yeah.
And so it's a great lesson of of how social media can be used to your benefit, but also how those moments can cost you your career.
Yeah. What young student athletes making bad decisions around social media, coach? I mean, gosh, I saw some of the costumes for Halloween. There were a lot of bad decisions being made. So your
Oh,
point is very valid. These kids have got to think about how their behaviors and their presence on social media is going to impact them in the future. And that's where parents need to be involved a little bit, help those kids with a little bit of common sense. And what in the world do you think you're wearing to go out that door?
it really does. And I mean, at the end of the day, um, it comes down to, just like we've talked about in the past, loving your kid. Love your kid enough to be able to tell your kid, this isn't right. This isn't the way that you should handle not just on social media, but your life. And they may not like you at that moment, but they will love you that you kept them in that lane and kept them going towards something better.
Yeah, I like it. The article kind of ends up on a little bit of a discussion about what kids end up doing with the deals and how those contracts are now not, all the college contracts, the NIL deals end at the end of the college career, right? So once you're done, whether you're going on to the pros or not, the contract's done. But it's been a good starting point for a pro career if the kids do go on. So the brands are going to be very motivated to work with athletes that have potential. Certainly, I think it's smart that the brand should explore and maybe work with some of the younger kids as a way to kind of start those relationships. But no, I love it. I think there's some good advice that kids just need to continue to think about what they're doing on social media, and certainly parents should be extremely aware of it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, to that last point that you were talking about, is what an opportunity as a marketer to get in early, if you will, on the ground floor before the IPO is launched, if you will,
Yeah.
to get in there and develop that relationship with an athlete. And it's I'm sure that in the world of agents, that there's like, hey, you don't need to be with this agent, you need to be with that agent, kind of thing. But once you've developed that relationship, and they're freshmen, and you hold that all the way through, all the way through their senior year, or when they declare, we're at that point, 2 to 3 years, that those freshmen, those sophomores, those juniors that are now going into their pro career, it's seamless for those agents to say, hey, he's been with us, he's in our portfolio, and we're happy to include him. Oh, by the way, we are representing him in the NFL now.
Yeah.
And don't you think they're going to take that and market that to the next group of athletes, that it's like, well, we represented player A, and he played for us as a freshman, and now he's playing in the NFL. Come with us, be with us, and you'll be in the NFL. Is there, that's the mantra.
We all have hectic lives, and moving is just a huge chaotic mess. If you are moving to this state, this city, what would you need to get comfortable? Even if you live in town and this is your home purchase or home sell, how would you want to be treated? Chris Ott with the Ott Group of Keller Williams Realty has been a longtime friend and was the guy who worked with me to find the perfect property solution. When I needed a real estate company knowledgeable on the Austin area, Chris Ott and Teresa Boasso with the Ott Group helped me with my house search needs. Chris and Teresa have helped thousands of people move. The Ott Group family is celebrating 35 years in business in Austin real estate. Their mantra is your move matters, and that is what they focus on. Having the Ott Group of Keller Williams Realty and their team of talented professionals assist me in every step with my search was the only way to get it done. Just go to theottgroup.com and get connected with the Austin real estate team dedicated to taking care of you. Ott, spelled OTT. Go to their website, theottgroup.com, and see how they can make your move easy.